don't get you in the mood, ladies and gentlemen, for the game tomorrow, nothing will. Duke, how are you, my friend?
All right.
Oh, hang on. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Oh. Hang on. Come on. Come on. Talk to me. Come on.
No,
I recognize that bottom lip jutting out.
No,
I
don't want to say too much. I don't want to talk too much.
What?
Obviously, I don't want to talk too much. So just short answers. So again, just.
Oh. Well, before we go too much further, I'd just like to draw everybody's attention to the Irons supporting food banks charity. The Just Giving link is in the chat. Mr. Russ Budden's doing a little bit of a walk around part of Greater London today, Duke. Have you seen this?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, he's basically started at Wembley Stadium, where the Bobby Moore statue is at Wembley Stadium. He's gone to the Bobby Moore statue at London Stadium, and he's now, last time I looked on Twitter, he's making his way from the Bobby Moore statue at London Stadium to the Bobby Moore statue outside the Old Berlin, the pub. He's raising money for obviously the Irons supporting food bank charity, which I think it's fairly safe to say we endorse.
Yes.
You got the because I said about you talking, haven't you? Listen, you're the one that had a 3-hour stream with Budgie the other night. Don't blame me.
Okay.
Duke, come back to me. Come on. I want the trappy Duke back. Come on.
Well, so I won't listen. I talk too much and I don't listen.
I know. I never said you don't listen. Don't misquote me. I just said you talk. Anyway, look, so guys, please, you've got the Just Giving link there. We like to try and raise awareness for certain causes and charities and all the rest of it. Please, there's plenty of it's tough times. Price of everything's going up. The only thing that isn't going up is your wages, pretty much. So there's plenty of families in the Newham area that need support at these times. So please, the Just Giving link is there. And I put my money where my mouth is. I've made a donation about 10 minutes before we came live. So, if I can do it, you can do it. Crack on. Let's have a look. So we got Happy's in there. She's making lots of noise. And obviously you've given her a little hello. And she's come back at you. Mr. Cox is in the building. Hope you are well, sir. And Gaza, hope you are very well. They're all just saying hello to everyone. It's a very glorious evening, unless you're Welsh and you like rugby.
What was the score, by the by?
I don't know what the final score was, but I know that Italy won. So 21-22, I'm reliably informed. Ooh. So Lee's in the chat as well. Hello, Lee. Hope you are well. He's just got the because I said that he talks and talks and talks, which, let's be honest, he does.
Good
so
girl.
He's got
well done, Di. Well said, Di. Well said.
Yeah, she can butt out. What does she know? She's a Spurs fan.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough. I can't agree with her. It's not me.
Oh, bless you. Come on, Duke. Come on. I want the real Duke in. Not this Palin.
You haven't got a fake one.
You had some. So you had someone at your pub. You were telling me.
I did. I got a visit today from the great man himself. I have to say, a little bit starstruck. I was saying this the other day, wasn't I? Meeting people off of here and stuff like that. I mean, it's weird because, as I said to you before I came here, I had a couple of young lads come to see me at the pub.
Yeah.
At the ball when I was there, that came up. I think it was from Margate or somewhere.
Yeah.
And they came up because they knew that I work there and we do this. And that was really surreal for me. Like, really surreal that these lads have come up from their home.
Claret and Booze are in the house.
Which is about...
Is that you, Nick, or Gary? Which one of you is it?
You know, Margate to like Dartford was it's not a small ass trek.
Wouldn't like
And
to
then
walk it.
no, and they're sitting there nudging each other when I'm behind the bar, and I'm in Lewisham.
Hang on,
In Lewisham.
I'll get the banner
Get
out.
the bit
Hang
up,
on.
do the bit.
There you go. That's
And,
what you're looking for.
and yeah, they're like
It is Nick. Yeah, I thought it was. How you doing, Nick? Hope you're
it
well.
was really surreal for me because I'm like, I just do this like this is having a conversation with friends
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. It's not
Yeah.
like, and the fact that these two, I think they were 13, 14 years old, had seen us do this and wanted to come see me at the pub. And I'm like, oh, it was really weird for me. Because, like, I mean, you were there when we were talking to Richard, might remember.
The London Stadium.
At London Stadium, when the two
Yep.
guys walked past him, and I recognise these ugly faces, this Duke and gatekeeper falls. You're like, and that's young Jake. And we were like, yeah, well, oh, yeah, all right. So to have Bose walk in,
Yeah.
and obviously I got a text message telling me that he was here. Well, I got a text message saying that there was a legend in the pub.
Yeah.
So I had a look on camera. I was like, well, as I said to you, I looked on Facebook and saw that he'd tagged himself at the pub, but I didn't see that he was at the pub in the post. It was only because I recognised the background of the pub itself. I was like, that's my pub.
That's my pub.
Oh, wait a minute. So yeah, I ran downstairs. Well, I say ran downstairs. I put a top on, popped my shoes on, went downstairs, put my hands on his shoulders. And just said hello, and he was like, "Hey, Duke," and I was like, "No, he doesn't know me as well. Like, stop it." Because in the same way, I suppose that these two kids seeing me and meeting me, obviously, I felt the same way for Bose. Obviously, you see, he puts a lot on Facebook. You know, I said to him like, it was strange. It was strange because he was on obviously TV on the Kidderminster game. He was on TV the game afterwards as well. He was on the TV the game after, and I said like the thing is, everyone posted. I wasn't in my Crocs happy. You're right. Everyone posted pictures of what they're taking of their TVs with their cameras, like oh look, it's Bose on telly, where Bose, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I said like, you're practically a celebrity within the West Ham Facebook community because everyone knows who you are. Yep. And in a way, I felt the same way as those kids did meeting me as I did meeting him. Like, it was a real surreal moment for me just to have him walk in. I mean, I've met Budgie, I've met Happy, I've met Cam, you know, they've come to the pub. Obviously, I know you from previous. I've met Steve 50, you know. So I've met Cyber as well. Cyber's come to the pub, still scares the shit out of me when he walks in and just stands there staring at me across the bar.
Eyeballing ya.
Yeah, just like, so like once like now I've met him.
Yeah.
Like if I see him bump into him, whatever, it's just going to be bumping into him again and saying hi and you know, but like
the ice has been broken
in the same way. Like Happy just said there, because I said to Gonzo off stream the other day, Gates, you didn't know that's how I'd feel if I get to meet him, kind of thing. It's really strange because you know I've seen these guys on YouTube and stuff. Let's not. I'm still panicking. I'm on anti-anxiety medication for that moment.
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm taking anti-anxiety medication. Listen, Cyber's wonderful. I love Cyber to pieces. But when he walks through the door, and for those of you who haven't met Cyber, he's a tall lad. Like
I still haven't met him.
I'm tall. I'm 6'1", right? And Cyber walks in, and he's 6'1", give or take. And he just stands there. He doesn't say a word. Like, he won't announce himself. Like, I've got my head down. I'm serving. I'm getting glasses, putting glasses away. And rather than going, you're right, Duke, and I come up knowing that someone's spoken to me and someone's going to be there. No, I come down from putting glasses on shelves. Like, he's there, just standing there. You know, you know, Lurch out the Adams Family, the way he used to just stand. He'd stand in the doorway, right? Like, Jesus, hey, listen, Happy, everyone's tall compared to you.
Yeah, that is true.
But it's like, I love him to pieces. And I do believe he's coming here tomorrow for the game. I do believe he did mention to me on WhatsApp.
I think he's mentioned it to me.
And if anyone's not got tickets for the Spuds away, pop on over. Like, come on down. I'm not going to be working during
you know
the game.
what? I'm toying with the idea, but there's a problem, and you know
Yeah,
what it is.
I know what the problem is, but the thing is, you
I'd have to
married
bring
her.
her. I'd have to bring her.
You know, no. She can sit outside.
What, in Lewisham, Nick?
Yeah, well, that's where she'll end up if she kicks off, because I'll just carry her over there myself, over my shoulder, my shoulder like a caveman.
But you say they got 4 floors going down, don't they? They
Yes,
stick her in the
yes.
bottom floor.
We'll put her in with the horses. It's fine.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Like, oh, Happy, I love you. Stop it. And I'll be honest, I even admitted that before she says anything. I actually admitted that. She sent me a message earlier, and I did say thank you to her, because it was her that set up today's meeting with me and Bose. And I did say, like, thank you, and I do love you. So before she starts for that shit, I've got screenshots of you telling me you love me. I've already put it out there, girl. You got nothing now. You got nothing. Nothing. You got no
evidence on your haps.
That's it.
There you go.
And she told me she loves me back. I'd like to point that out. Or something in them words. Some words like that. It probably was. They weren't the exact words.
But you're probably way behind Gonzo in the pecking order. I think.
Probably. Like, you know, I mean, she's met me now.
Gonzo's number one as far as she's concerned. Listen,
Gonzo's number one as him and Gio are number one as far as I'm concerned. I think. Like,
yeah, I'd go along with that.
I mean, I've met. Who was it? I met. Was it Nick? West Ham Fan TV, I think it was. He's a friend of one of the guys who used to work with at the yacht in Bexheath.
Oh right, yeah.
And he came into the
with
pub.
Scott, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Scott I met.
Scott,
not Nick. I met
Scott Collier.
Yes, I met Scott. And we'd only been going a few months doing this.
Yes, I remember.
Not even that. And he walked in and he gave me some really good, just advice on just like, don't try. His exact words were, don't try and be too scripted with it. Just go in, have fun, just be you. And we've done that.
We do. Yeah.
You know, we've done that. We've not tried to be pretentious or, you know, anything else. It's, you know, we've come in, we've had the fun. I'm number 3. Am I number 3?
No, I think that's Gonzo.
Right. So where do I rank? Because I'm not having this. I'll take the first. I'll take the first 2, and I'd take Gonzo.
I think you've missed out on bronze. I think you've missed out on bronze.
Listen. Nobes and Zini are fine. If Gonzo jumps in ahead of me, that's all right as well. I'll take 4th. If I ain't 4th, we're going to be having conversations, girl.
You were still Champions League qualification. What are you moaning for?
That's neither in or there.
All right,
Don't you start getting involved, young man. He's piping up. Yes, Gaza, my word.
Yeah, it was on. That was on Gonzo's stream this morning, wasn't it?
He put something out on Facebook.
Crazy.
Word.
Very talented man,
mate.
Very talented.
That goes beyond anything. Like, that is an understatement for being very. It's like saying it was amazing. That doesn't even do that painting justice. Those words don't do that painting justice. It was literally. I think you'd need to invent new words for just how good that picture was. You know what I mean? It was something else. Yep. I actually want that copy. I want that copy. I know it cost me a fucking fortune. I mean, I've got my Julian Dix thing somewhere. I actually don't know where that is since we moved in here. The one that I got off of eBay.
Oh, hello. No. There you go. Joint 4th. Dead heat. I wonder who am I level
on points with, Happy? And can I be separated by goal difference?
Oh, no. She says joint 4th, then it's joint 4th. So,
listen,
you know,
it's very rare. If it's, I reckon it'll be. I reckon it might be. It's either you or it's that little man himself.
No.
Me and Budgie. You know what? All right.
So I'm 5th. Oh, okay, that's fine. It's nice to know where you stand. Just saying.
Actually, I tell you what, it's falls from mine. I reckon falls from mine. I reckon we're in it together.
No. She says Duke and Budgie. Doesn't mention me.
Listen, I'm trying to help you, Rob.
You know, I'm only the one that introduced it to Gonzo, but no, that's fine. That's fine. You know.
Point scoring. Here we go. Rob's going to go ahead of me now in the point scoring. This is it. All right, sorry, I'll do it myself. Wrong way. Thank you.
Should we get on with talking about the match?
we're only 17 minutes in and we've chat shit. But
Yeah, well,
that's what Scott
do.
says. That's what Scott says. Just be
That's
yourself and away.
Oh, hang on. She's remembered me and Peach. We've only just popped in her thought process. You know, I'm sitting here for Christ's sakes, Happy. I don't know if you've noticed me. Hello.
No, she's got her picture zoomed in on me.
Oh dear, terrible. Should we get on with matters relating to our trip around the North Circular to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
I'll be honest with you, mate. Would it be wrong of me? Yeah, it probably would be, actually.
Go on, say it. We're not scripted.
Would it be wrong of me to say I'm really not bothered about tomorrow after what happened on Thursday?
In a way, I can kind of get that, which is really weird for a Tottenham game. But
don't get me wrong, I still want to win it. But if we lose,
it's not
going to have that. It's not going to have that downer, disastrous end of the world moment. Like, listen, if they like, I can be honest, and if you bring her over tomorrow and we lose, right? I can deal with the insults and the bullshit that are going to come flying on social media and on the rest of it. They lost their cup final again. Listen, we're still in with a shot of a cup final. Shut the fuck up, right? you Conference League farmer mugs that couldn't even deal with that shit. Jog away. Have you put pressure on recently? Jog away. I can't be, and that's where I'm at. So I won't have that. I won't have that kind of pent up reaction.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if they go, oh look at you lost your cup final. I'm not going to get angry and go, fuck it, right, like
your cup final, not ours. We're living there rent free.
Well, massively, mate. I tell you, if there is one club and one set of fans that are literally like, oh, you're obsessed with Spurs. I haven't even brought you up. Shut up, knobheads. Like, go away.
The other way round.
It was Spurs fans that were commenting on Thursday night, acting like we're celebrating too soon, saying that you think they've won the Premier League the way they're celebrating. You bitter, twisted, just poor little relation to us. Go away. Go back under your fucking rock.
I sense that Spurs fans generally are not flavour of the month with you. Am I reading this right?
Listen, I've got Spud fans that are friends of mine, and we have some banter back and forward. Most of them are pleased that we're doing okay. Most of them are like, and they know. Yeah, Mark, I might do. I might feel completely different. I'll wake up tomorrow morning. But generally, I have like with my friends. Some of them. Like there's a lot of banter that goes back and forward. You know, me and Dyer, for instance, you and Dyer, you know what I mean. Yeah. Whereas there are some on my Facebook, and there was a gentleman called Tom who used to go to primary school with. He was the one that made the comment about us being a bit too soon, kind of thing, and I literally, my response to him with, what's this Conference League mug piping up for? Have you put pressure on recently? And that was all I put. And then all the other West Ham fans underneath have jumped on going, mate, they ain't even in Conference League. They're not even anywhere close to that shit. And it was like, he suddenly disappeared off of Facebook for about 24 hours.
That?
Can't imagine why.
I'm sure it was a coincidence.
It's the same if you go onto Twitter and all the rest of it. They are so obsessed with us. I mean, listen, they're the ones that they know, like Happy's just said, it's a massive game. We've got to win to stay above them and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I get that. I don't want to drop below them, but I'm not going to be so far pissy, angry, annoyed. All that. I'll be pricks. They beat us, but I'm not going to be any of the insults are not going to really get at me this time, because you know what. We got a Europa League quarter final coming up in a couple of weeks. Like, you got nothing. Piss off you go. And that's exactly how I'm going to feel. My boss, my area manager, he's a Manc. Okay, Man U fan. The old manager of here that showed me around when I first took over. He's a spud. And yesterday in our managers chat, my area manager did put in there, don't forget that the big game has been cancelled tomorrow. It's now Tottenham West Ham. And I went, what? What do you mean?
What do you mean the big name's been cancelled?
What
What
do
are
you
you on
mean?
about?
Unfortunately, the big game's been cancelled. Europa League quarter-finalists here. Like, it's a London derby. He went, yeah, but there's a big difference in sales when big clubs play and small clubs play. I went, what about when big...
Small?
I went, what do you mean small club? You're talking about Spurs, right? You mean Spurs. They're not like... you're talking about... Yeah, you must be. And then the Spuds pipes up, then he in the chat, like... I'd say West Ham are a small club, but at least Tottenham can concentrate on the league now. I said, yeah, so can we, the Europa League. And then some poor lad piped up. Well, it could be worse. You could be like me, and I'm an Everton fan. I was like, yeah, right, fair enough. Touche. I take my leave. And they're obsessed with us. I know we're here talking about it, but that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about them. They pipe up when it's got nothing to do with them, and they talk like if we could be playing like Everton, and there'll be a pipe up about something. You're like, what are you? What? Why? Sharp. Go away. Nothing to do with you. Piss off. And that's, yeah, they're knobs. Most of them, absolute knobs.
Okay.
Why are you going 4-3-3 again? Will you stop this shit?
Well, hang on. Right.
Stop
okay.
toying with it. Stop toying with it.
Well, I don't know. It could be 4-3-3. It could be 4-2-3-1. I've gone 4-3-3 this time, just to sort of jazz it up a little bit. I mean, he's so often he's been 4-2-3-1. You know what a formation is most of the time, and he's sort of like in a few games recently he's gone 4-3-3. So jazz it up.
He likes
Fabianski between the sticks, league goalkeeper, done. Back four. I don't think he's going to change it. I think it'll be Cresswell, Zuma, Dawson, Johnson. You could turn around and say, would he risk Cresswell, given he obviously had to come off against Villa? He played 120 minutes against Sevilla the other night. I don't think he will have a problem putting him in at left back. So, yeah, as you were. Midfield three, should it be a midfield three of Lanzini, Souček and Rice the captain? I think that Rice sort of like hanging that little bit deeper and allowing Souček to get forward, you know, it works. I mean, you saw it happen more often than not against Sevilla, and obviously Souček got the opening goal, so you got to say that it worked.
At the door. There's somebody at the door. Sorry, Karen.
But yeah, I think it will be a midfield three of those three. If it is 4-2-3-1, then it will be Rice and Souček as double pivot, and Lanzini will move to the 10 position. But whatever. Yeah. Then you've got the front three. It'll be Pablo Fornals right, I suspect. Your mate Benny will be on the left.
So
and then the number. I couldn't resist. I do suspect, though, I don't think that Antonio will be risked. Certainly not from the start. I think he'll be on the bench as a weapon. But I think that Yarmolenko in the last couple of games, the goals that he's scored, yes, from the bench, not a sort of like a 90-minute performance, but he's come on and he's been effective at the job that he's been asked to undertake. I wouldn't have a problem with sticking him as the 9. What about yourself?
I'm gonna make some comments here that are going to shock a few people.
Oh, are you a Ben Rama fan now?
Listen, I wasn't a Ben Rama hater. Let's not start this shit, Robert. Okay, let's clear this up. No, I actually. What? I haven't seen the game, mate. I've watched it. I've watched the highlights about 8 times.
Cheers, Lee.
As I said in our post-match, okay, I thought Ben Rama played well out there. And I saw a lot more of the donkey work rate from him that we normally see from Fornals when he plays on the left, which is part of the criticism that I had of Ben Rama when he plays out on the left, is that, you know, the start of the season, if you go back and watch our videos, I used to say Fornals Fornals is on the left because he supports Cresswell. Well, I saw some of that from Benny on Thursday night. You know, he got back, he defended well. It's not like what we normally see from Bowen out on the left. You know, so on the right. Sorry. So yeah. Listen, I think I'd say you've got 90% of that team correct. I'd say you've got 90%. You got one thing wrong, and I really do think he'll start Antonio ahead of Yarmolenko.
I don't think that it's impossible that he would, but I'm just sort of thinking 120 minutes, came off injured against Villa. He's got dodgy hammies.
He'll start. He might not finish the game, and it just depends on whether. Listen, if we're 2-0 down and we're kind of banging on the door, he might leave him on. But if we look a little bit lackluster and don't look like we're doing much, he probably will take him off after an hour and leave him. If we're winning, it might even be then that he takes him off and brings on a more defensive option, and he slides Lanzini or Ben Rama into a straightforward striking role. But I'll be honest with you, he hasn't got it much wrong in the last few games, Mr. Moyes. He really hasn't. I think he's set up against Villa, tactically he's set up against Seville were on point. I loved his mind games. I haven't heard anything from him recently. I'd like to stop it. Stop it.
She's salivating.
That's just the beer she's having. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. I saw her in the chat.
Gorgeous, girly. Gorgeous. Bye. No, I'll be honest with you. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. To like that team there. You put that team up there. I say one change, as Gazza says there. He'll have scoring against the Spuds.
He does.
He starts for me. He's going to reenact his goal celebration of humping a dry camel after he scored the first goal at that ground when we beat them for that was their first loss as well.
That was, yeah.
I think he might reenact that one again tomorrow if he bags one. I listen. The guy's desperate for a goal, isn't he? He's desperate for a goal.
Oh, if there's one team that he loves scoring against, it's this lot.
Then let's get him out there. Okay. I feel a bit upset for Areola. I think he's the reason. I do, and I mean this. I do believe he's the reason.
I agree.
Unlucky, babe. He's the reason we're in the next round of the Europa League. That save, that goes in. It makes it very, very
changes
difficult.
The whole thing, doesn't it?
That's 3 goals we need to score. And all right, yes, we still had the questionable 90 minutes to do it. And if we could have got 2 to get into extra time, makes it a lot more difficult. So I think it's a bit harsh that he will be dropped tomorrow for Fab, but I can see it happening. Everything else there, mate, yeah, I'll be honest with you, just a Yama one for me. I'd start Yama. No, I'd start Antonio, sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. No problem. As we always say, it's a game of opinions. So, the Tottenham team, I hear you ask. Okay.
No, I didn't ask.
Okay, well, okay. No, but, there will be some people out there that will want to see it. This is what I suspect Antonio Conte will go with. Lloris in goal, who's obviously their captain. Standard. Back 3, because Conte plays a back 3 wherever he's been. He's Inter Milan, Juventus, Chelsea, Italy, back 3, all the time, standard. Davies, the left centre-back, Dyer in the centre, Romero on the right. The midfield 4 will be the wing-backs, Reguilon and Doherty, left and right, Højbjerg and Bentancur in the middle. And then just slightly withdrawn from the central striker, which is obviously going to be England captain Harry Kane, will be Heung-min Son on the left and Dejan Kulusevski on the right. Duke, what say you?
Apart from the typical, Son Kane partnership, as when we played them before, and Son was out, and they still managed to bring in Mora.
I know it's not a bad sub to have, is it? In fairness,
there's 2 players there. There's 2 players in that. My God, really. I think it's since January. I believe that's when they signed them both. Was that Bentancur I think
Mm-hmm.
he's been absolutely phenomenal. I really do like him. I think he's a good player. And that Kulusevski again is another one. I believe he was Betancourt was named man of the match the last game. Kulusevski was not nominated man of the match the previous game. They're two good players. They're two very good players. But again, the one thing with this team, and it's something that they really do suffer with, it's massive inconsistency, like huge inconsistency. And I don't know whether that. Well, I do know what that is. It's the team and their concentration, because it never happened when Conte played. He never had inconsistency like this when he was at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Like a team that
Well, I'd say the
one lost
beginning
one, 1-1
stage.
lost one, 1-1 lost one, 1-1 lost. I don't remember that kind
Well,
of shit.
I remember the first season he was there, because he was only there 2 seasons. He won the Premier League in his first season and won the FA Cup in his second season, and he was off ski. I do remember, though, the beginning of his first season, it was a little bit up and down, and they got beat at the Emirates 3-0. I don't know if you remember that. They got beat 3-0, and from what I remember, it was virtually straight after that they went from a back 4 to a back 3. John Terry was basically dumped onto the bench, and they went on this amazing run and ended up being Premier League champions.
Yes.
So there was a period of inconsistency right at the very beginning, and he got to a point where he went, right, this is the moment. It changes here.
Swept
Bang.
away the old guard, didn't he? As
Yeah.
such, you
Yeah.
know. I've got to say, right. Peaches just said that he loves Hoiberg, right? I fucking hate him. Hate him. He is nothing. I tell you what he is. I hate him because he doesn't play for us. Okay, that's if he put on a West Ham shirt,
yo, you'd love him.
He's a repka, right? Basically he's a terrorist.
Or a Craig Bellamy.
No, he's a terrorist, right? He literally is
That's
a
strong
terrorist.
word to use.
No. As a player, he's a terrorist,
Okay.
right? He's one of them fucking arseholes on the pitch that you'll be standing there waiting for a corner to come in the cunt rate of pub, my friends. Got carried away.
Parlez-vous français?
He's the sort of person, a lady garden, that will run his studs down your calf muscle and off your Achilles while you're standing there. Yeah. He's the one that, you know, he does the dark arts, the dirty tricks to get you to react, right? And I hate him. I hate him. You saw what he did to Ashby in the reverse fixture. It was the League Cup, wasn't it? And Ashby just stood there and was like, "Who the fucking hell do you think you are?" And I was like, "I love Ashby. Touche, son. Go on, away you go, boy." For someone so young, that could have been quite a simple moment of and shit yourself, right? But he didn't. He stood his ground at the guy and went, "No. I'm not having it." And I love that. I love that. Like, I think it was it showed me a moment that he wasn't going to be intimidated. But problem is, it doesn't take a lot. I mean, one of the worst things for me when I played was someone raking their studs down my calf muscle at a free kick or a corner. I mean, that always snapped. I snapped every time at that, and I like, it took everything you'd have not to turn around and just lay the prick out on the floor, and then like get yourself a red card. But that's what they want. That's what he. And for me, I didn't rate Højbjerg at Southampton. I didn't understand why Tottenham had bought him. Basically, they bought an enforcer. That's what they've done. Evening Sahil. I'm glad you found it again. They bought an enforcer, right? And fair play to him, because it works on the pitch. He intimidates, he roughhouses, he basically is just an absolute dick of a player. A dick that if he was wearing a West Ham shirt, I think I'd actually wouldn't call him a dick, and I'd be like, "Yeah, go on, do it, drag your studs."
Bellamy. I remember Bellamy. I hated him when he was at
Thomas
Blackburn,
Repka,
Newcastle, Norwich, Coventry. I hated the guy. He turned up at West Ham in a claret and blue shirt, and I could see what he was all about and how hard he actually worked for the team. And I was like, wow, I get it. Yeah. And then of course he cleared off to Man City, and I hated him again
in about 20 minutes in the grand scheme of things, wasn't it? Like, bastard. But I mean, I'm not sure who it was that just asked the question. How does Harry Winks get a game? Gaza, mate. Oh, really? Him and Dyer by name, right? And he is at football as well.
Yeah.
Like how Eric Dyer still gets into the England squad. Like how? I don't know if he's in the latest one.
I'm not sure.
But how does he still get picked for England squads?
Because
Like,
he's English and he plays for a top 6 club.
but
Next.
he's shit.
I
Like,
don't think that
my
matters.
God, he's absolute turd. Him and Harry Winks shouldn't have been they shouldn't be anywhere near a Premier League team.
Not being funny, but the precedent was set for me earlier this season when Jesse Lingard, who I rate for obvious reasons, but I think he got into an England squad on the back of 4 minutes appearance for Manchester United. Like, really?
Yeah. So Eric,
are we surprised when that happens that Eric Dyer gets into the team? I'm not.
Dyer,
And that's not a criticism; it's just an observation.
Yeah, it winds me up. Like the pair of them, Dyer and Harry Winks, are just absolute. They're turd. Like you look at this, and a load of just walks. It's football, sweetheart. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Go and piss off to Pret a Manger. Don't worry about it.
Go down spoons. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway.
Hope you told them, Happy. I hope you sorted them out. Slapped them around the chops a bit.
Can't do that. Not allowed to anymore.
No, she can.
Oh, right. Okay.
I can't. I'm not there, so I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, there you go. Epic. Spot on, mate.
They probably hit me.
Spot on.
Yeah.
And that's championship quality at best. At best, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the form in Premier League and in all competitions.
Got to feel confident, right?
Listen, we're coming off the back of a magnificent win. Our tails are going to be up. Make no mistake about that. Yes, we played half an hour extra. Yes, our game was, 24 hours more recently, than their last game. But like I say, momentum is a tremendous thing. Our positivity. You just look at the final scenes. Once the final whistle had gone, you look at those players and the management staff, the coaches. That's a unit. That's a real band of brothers. There's a serious feeling of togetherness in the camp, and that can get you an awful long way. An awful long way. I'm not saying that will on its own win us the game tomorrow. I'm not saying that on its own that will win us the Europa League, get us top 6 or anything like that. But you can get an awful lot further with a. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen it where you've had teams that have, on paper, been absolutely brilliant. You look at some of the names and you go, "My God!" Take Manchester United as a prime example of that this season. You look at the names in the squad of Manchester United and compare it to us. There shouldn't really be any doubt as to which one of those teams is going to finish above the other, should there? Really?
Well, but there's, I mean, when they can go out and spend 75 million on Jadon Sancho, and not miss, and then not only not miss a beat, but not play him.
Yeah,
you got a 75 million pound bench player because, in my opinion, stupid. That's true.
Although he seems to have come into it a little bit with the change of formation, I've got to say.
When you consider you spent 75 million pound on who has turned into be a bench player because you went out and, rightly or wrongly, I believe wrongly, not the point, went out and got a 37-year-old player back because you didn't want him going to your rivals, right? And then you end up sitting one of the best young talents that this country has to offer in Jadon Sancho, and I do believe that. I think he's a fantastic player, has all the ability, and will be a top player. You then drop him to the bench for a 37-year-old. Like, don't get me wrong. He's a great player and has been, and he's a legendary player. He has legendary status, in my opinion. But you're now trying to fit a team around this guy that doesn't know how to defend, doesn't
Yeah.
track back, gets the ump when things don't go his way, and I just can't
Yeah.
like. For me, and you said it yourself when we were talking about Lingard. Lingard stayed, and obviously Ronaldo going, then drop Lingard even further down the pecking order. You know what I
But it's
mean?
his hero, isn't it? He wanted
Oh
to
yeah,
work with him. I
listen,
think that's fair.
but listen,
Oh,
if
and
I
just to
was,
say, Sahil, nobody's perfect, mate. We don't hold it against you.
um, you know, City knew exactly what they were doing, right? And I stand by this. City knew what they were doing when it came to transfer deadline day, and they went, "We're, Ronaldo said that he wanted to finish his career at United. Blah blah blah. Great, superb, fair play, son. I understand that." But then, man, you go, "Oh, we're not really interested." No, we just bought Sancho 75 mil. Like we got him through the
Good
door. It's
man.
all right. And then City go, "Oh, we'd be interested. We're going to make some contacts." All smoke screen and mirrors, mate. They didn't even reach out. It was all just released to the press that we're going to be interested. United panicked, offered him this massive, godforsaken deal. That
Fergie was involved, wasn't he?
yeah.
I
All
think did
because
Ronaldo speak to him, or he got in touch with Ronaldo, one or the other?
all because they wanted to keep him out of the clutches of their rivals who weren't even interested in the first place. And by doing so, have very much screwed up their season. In my opinion, have very much screwed up their season. Their whole season went to pot when Ronaldo signed on that line because they had to change everything. They couldn't have the pressing side that they would have with Sancho in the starting lineup. And it all went down, in my opinion anyway, it all went downhill. I'm not saying he's not a great player. And I remember saying it would be lucky if he got 20 goals this season. I think he's got about 18 tap-ins from inside the 6-yard box so far this season. And I think
They all count.
Hey, listen, but that's what happens when you're an old man. You can't run anymore. You have to stand in the box to score goals. I'm not quite sure what Michael Owen's problem was. He did that when he was 18. Apart from the goal against Argentina, which I know about firsthand, prick. But yeah, I mean, listen, we're talking about Tottenham, not about Man U.
Fair. Who? I think if I was to ask you the question, which player do we need to keep quiet to maximise our chances of getting a positive result, or at least a draw? And I would class a draw as a positive result, being that we're the away team. And as I say, we had an extra 30 minutes the other night. We've had 24 hours less rest. I would actually, I make no bones about saying if we go to Tottenham and get a draw, I would actually consider that to be a positive result. Now, other people might turn around and say otherwise, and that's absolutely fine. But I just think everything in context, put into the melting pot. I think that if we went there and got a point, if we could have 2 consecutive seasons where we've got 4 points off of Tottenham in consecutive seasons, I would consider that to be a very good level of consistency. So I've got no problem with getting a draw. But I suppose if I was to ask you which player we need to keep quiet to maximise our chances, you're probably going to say Harry Kane.
No,
So if I reword the question and say other than Harry Kane,
I wouldn't say Harry Kane, mate.
okay, all right, okay.
I personally think Harry Kane bottles bigger games, derbies, shit like that, unless it's probably against Arsenal, to be fair. He doesn't turn up against us, Rob. I don't recall him. He scores goals, but I don't remember him having a good game. I mean, you look at the last game we played him, I think it was in the league. Man marking Antonio at the near post from the
Last
corner.
one was the League Cup game.
It was the last league game against them.
Okay,
marking Antonio at the near post. Antonio just sticks his foot out, and it's a goal. He looked nonplussed. It didn't bother him. Like I don't know what it is when it comes to playing us. I don't know if he just doesn't want to turn up. Sahil had my answer on screen just then as the player that scares the piss out of me.
Rate this guy, just a super hard worker and
Scares
very, very talented.
Piss out of me. Like seriously. Now, Happy
Can I
said
ask
it
a
earlier.
question?
Yes.
Son or Ben Rama?
See, now that's You're now being facetious and you're trying to
What?
get me into trouble.
They both play on the left side of a front.
And you're trying to get me into trouble, but I will answer
Son
your
or Ben
question.
Rama?
I will answer your question.
Please do. This isn't the House of Commons.
Son.
So you hate Ben Rama?
I never said I hate Ben Rama. What I'm saying is, Human Son would be my my go-to because he has more experience and more goals in the Premier League
Yeah.
and offers us that would offer us that much more. Now, give Benny 5 or 6 more years in the Premier League, Aston Villa. I think he'll be a great player. When we get Watkins in a swap deal in July,
You think?
I
I
don't
know
think.
we've discussed that. You
I
now
don't.
think that's.
Don't think it's against the realms of a possibility. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating to sell Ben Rama. What I'm saying is, if the option is given to Moyes, do I think Moyes would take it? And that's just it. Hey, Sharky, great shout, son.
I'm going to say it without hesitation. Son all day long and twice on a Sunday.
Do you hate Ben Rama then? Is that what you're saying? You hate Ben Rama?
No, I think he's a super talented player, but I think when you look at what they've done in the Premier League over, say the last 18 months since the time that Ben Rama has been a Premier League player, side by side, Son wins it. No argument. And as I say, there's no shame in that because I think Son is a super talented footballer, but I think that on balance, I think the one thing that Son has a little bit better quality at that Ben Rama in the main struggles with, I think, is his defensive work, sort of like tracking back and whatever. I think Son is hands down the better player in that area.
I think his intelligence and I think his intelligence and his decision making.
Sorry, Sharky.
His football intelligence and his decision making are on a completely different level as well to Ben Rama. We're talking to Bose earlier, and one thing Bose said that he notices when he's at the games and stuff, and Ben Rama tries to play too many no look passes, and it's not a case of no looks. I like that. It's not that he's looking that way and he passes it that way.
Yeah.
He's just not looking at what he does. There's too many times he just lumps the ball, be it into the box or back across field with no spatial awareness, no player awareness of what's near him and what's around him. And he does it too often. And Bose, he's obviously at the games a lot more. He obviously, he said he was behind the tunnel, around the tunnel area. And he said that blowout with him and Moyes was bad. It wasn't even just what we saw on TV. It was bad, which would explain why he was dropped to the bench, not even used as a sub for a couple of games afterwards, So, but no, listen, Benny has all the footballing talent to be a great player. I'm not saying a West Ham great. I'm just saying a great player. But it's that football intelligence. It's that decision making. The right pass at the right time, knowing when to dribble and not run into the fullback, knowing when to not even try and pass a ball forward or sideways, but go back. No, what, Chris? I can agree with you. I
wouldn't say he hasn't got a clue, Antonio. But what I will say is he is quite ungainly. He is quite unorthodox. He's not a sort of like a out of the box sort of striker. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not. He's a winger, really.
But then that's the same as Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko isn't necessarily an out-and-out striker. And we certainly didn't buy him as an out-and-out striker. We bought him more as that
he does play as a striker for Ukraine.
Yeah, but then so that being said, okay.
But good point, Chris. Good point.
I was, and I want to touch on what Chris has said because it makes a lot of sense. We all bang the drum, don't we, about Yarmolenko when he puts on a Ukrainian shirt, looks like he's Superman. Yet when he puts on a West Ham shirt and comes off the bench, he looks like Clark Kent. Like it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
But that's because we try to play him in the Bowen role or the Benrahma role, and we don't just stick him as a centre forward or as a striker. Maybe that's why he can't play wide. He doesn't have. Listen, I remember the goal he scored against Everton.
Yes.
With a messy chop coming in onto his left foot, bending it into the far corner. Right. That was when he had the pace to run down the wing and beat people. He doesn't have. I don't think he has that in his locker anymore.
He got that injury, ironically, against Spurs, didn't he, at London Stadium?
Yeah. I don't think he has that in his locker anymore. Therefore, just put him in the box. And in fairness, when he came on, in fairness to the other players, that's where he was. Like I said, you watch West Ham clips, and
I don't know about terrorised. I think he's referring to Moyes versus Benrahma.
I can tell you exactly what it feels like to be terrorised by a boss. I've just got out of a 7-year relationship, shall we say? So I know, and I don't mean with my partner. I mean with I mean with an ex-boss. I know exactly what it feels like to be terrorised by your boss. For me, if Yarmolenko starts and Benny's there, I think we'll see more of the same as what we saw against Villa and we saw against Seville from Yarma. I think Yarma in that centre forward spot does give, as I say, Clips made a comment on his video of the alternative commentary for the Seville game about Antonio pulling out wide again. Please don't pull out wide. Please don't. Just before the goal, he actually ran a cross goal out to the left, and then turned and put it into the box, into an area where you want him to be. As your striker, that's where you want him. Don't get me wrong, it was Andy Souček making the late runs that he became famous for. Like, yeah, you know it, an all girl, because you know who I'm talking about, didn't you? Bitch.
He loves you, really.
No. My terrorising boss is also the area manager for her pub. So yeah. So we know that Antonio always pulls wide, whereas I noticed Yarmolenko was more centre forward. So it's I wouldn't say no one's treated like Benny Sahil. Listen, if he'd
Bowen last season.
Yep, Bowen was the most sub player in the Premier League last season. No one. And listen, he didn't complete more than an hour on, I'd say, 90% of the times he came off the pitch.
And he never once complained coming off.
Nope.
So
just got on with it. And we're in a point where we're getting back into a game and Benny's basically taking all the momentum that we gained by strolling off. And Moyes was like, get the fuck off the pitch. And he continued to stroll. It's not like when Moyes went, hurry up. He went, oh shit, all right, yes, boss. He went, nah, fuck you. I'm going to take my time even more now. And that's what got Moyes' goat.
I will agree with Sahil with the statement, no one is treated like Benny. That is true because Benny is treated like Benny and Bowen is treated like Bowen and Rice is treated like... Everyone will be treated their own unique way because the manager has a unique relationship with each individual character. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, so... What do you think for a scoreline? And guys in the live chat, if you want to get involved in this, please do. Talk to me about how you think this game's going to play out and the final scoreline, in your opinion.
2-1 West Ham.
Ooh, that's brave. Brave. So go on, goal scorers. Is it going to be someone from the bench making a name for themselves?
I think we're going to see a goal. It depends on what way they play it. If Antonio starts, you're going to see a goal from Antonio.
Is that Tottenham 1, West Ham 2? Is that Mark? I hope so.
2-1. I think you'll see a goal from Antonio if he starts. If not, you might get one off the bench, and you'll see a goal for Yarma as well, coming off the bench or starting, whichever the case may be.
The hot streak continues.
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what I would like to see tomorrow would be a 4-4-2 or a variation of. a 4. I tell you what would be quite sexy, a 4-2-2-2. So you'd
like what Ralph Rangnick does at Manchester United.
So you'd have the 2 holding players,
yeah,
in McTominay, Fred, and in Rice and Souček, and then you'd have the 2 higher players up on the left and right in Benny and Pablo, and then you'd have Antonio. No disrespect to Happy and dropping Zini, but I'd have and then I'd have Yama and Antonio up front together. She can go suck a lemon.
Yeah, I've got to be careful what I say.
You don't. Divorce is cheaper these days.
Is it?
I don't know.
What can you get it through eBay or something like that?
I Wish app.
Right,
get a divorce kit off of Wish app or something.
It's like those sort of like do-it-yourself will kits.
Basically, yeah.
Oh.
If you need to, I could be a.
Who knew?
I could be your like your lawyer for it if I need to. I could get myself practiced up and we'll see what we got.
I'm always happy, and I've got to say, Lee, the weather here in this part of the world has been absolutely top drawer, hasn't it, Duke? In fact, I went past your pub on my day's work.
8 o'clock. Well, I think this morning, wasn't it? I think you drove past just before.
Yeah.
I
could do, Chris. Could do.
Yeah,
not sure he will, but he might match him up. You never know.
It scares me because we play too defensive when we go 3 at the back, and we just don't have an outlet that I like. It's uncomfortable.
Oh, we played 3 at the back for a fair chunk of last season, and I wouldn't say we were defensive.
No, but we sit too deep, and we can get picked off with 3 because Dawson isn't the quickest. Cresswell nowadays isn't the quickest. So then Zuma thinks, right, I've got to sit here in case they get in and behind, and that's my issue with it. And they kind of, you saw that against whoever it was a couple of weeks ago, that Zuma felt he needed to sit. I think it was when he got a man of the match, actually. It was when Zuma felt he had to sit a lot deeper because we come up against someone who had some pacey forwards. I can't remember who it was. And we had a conversation. I said in the post-match that
Zuma Newcastle?
It was, yeah, because I said about St. Maxim and then he didn't start.
Yeah.
But they still had some pace up front, and it was just uncomfortable because Zuma had to sit deeper because of Dawson's lack of pace, if you want. So, yeah, it's just
comfort's important to you, isn't it, Duke? Which is why you like Crocs as your footwear, isn't it? What?
You know what?
I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to throw a hissy fit. Big girl's blouse. Oh, you bottom lips jutting out there, Duke. Come on. Listen, I tell you what. I'll do. Right. I'll buy you a dandelion and burdock, whatever it's called, and I'll get you a bag of Watsits. How about that? Does that swing the deal for you? Does that swing the deal, or you're still gonna strop? You're still gonna sit there with your bottom lip hanging out.
I'm coming back for my fans.
Oh, for your fans.
For my
both
fans.
Of them. What, yeah, both of them?
Yeah. Peach and Happy.
Oh, dear. There's the Premier League table, Duke. Now
it still looks sexy, doesn't it?
That does. I mean,
I don't care what anyone says. Listen,
the games in hand have dried up for a few teams. I mean, we've actually now got a game in hand on Wolves, who dropped from 3 points to 0 yesterday, going from 2-0 up to 3-2 defeat against Leeds. And Leeds had players going off left, right, and centre.
Let's be fair.
Unbelievable.
It was a bullshit red card, in my opinion. I've seen it back. It's a yellow card. They've both committed. They're both committed. If that's anywhere else on the pitch between 2 outfield players, in my opinion, that's what it is. It's a yellow card. I don't think it's a straight red if it's not a goalkeeper. Now, it's just one of those things. Okay, it's one of those things. If he gets there before Massilier, cheers, buddy. That's a different story, Rob. Right? But it's just a It's just, it's he's come rushing out. He's gone rushing in. It's 50-50 as far as I'm concerned. They've clattered. Ain't a red card, and that fucked the game up for Wolves anyway. Leeds
Helped
got
us though.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I have to say I didn't really put. Well, me? Am I a clown because of the red card, yellow card thing? What? Is that? It's fine. I don't know. Is he calling me a clown because he thinks it's a red and I don't think it's a red, or what? What are we doing?
I don't know.
I just think if that is,
You're so sensitive these
I
days.
am.
What's the matter with you?
I'm on my period.
Are you allowed to say that? Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
I think you are. I think you are.
I don't care.
We make the rules up as we go along. To be fair.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got a sack for it. No, I mean, listen. I'm looking at that table, and yes, they've still got a game in hand on us, and we're level on points. I'll tell you what, I'm just pleased to see such a good positive goal difference of double figures.
Do you know what I think? Right. I look at that table and we're sixth, and that's great. And I know people will say, "Oh yeah, but we should have been shooting for fourth, and if we'd have strengthened in January and yada yada yada." Listen, we are where we are. We might not be where we want to be, but we are where we are, and where we are actually isn't that bad. Top 6 in the Premier League with 9 games. Excuse me, 9 games left of the Premier League as we speak. Quarterfinals of the Europa League. Listen, we've had worse seasons. Let's be fair. But at this stage, we've been fighting relegation at some stages and been out of all cup competitions. So for us to be in the position we're in, I've seen an awful lot worse. I've seen it where we're virtually staring down the barrel of going to the Championship at times.
Can I also just point out, right, for those that are interested in it, I suppose, take a look at the gap between us and top. It's 22 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's the least it's been at this time of year for fucking ages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, serious, that's only 22 points. I know 22 points in the grand scheme of things is a significant amount. Let's not mess around. It's a significant amount. But, is that what it was, Chris? All right, then I'm yeah, fair enough. If it was his second year, that's touche. I accept that. Fair enough. I thought it was a straight red. My bad. 22 points. That's nothing at this time of year. Let's be fair. We're normally that many points from safety. Listen, all we can do is improving. What was our points tally last year, Rob?
60. Oh, gold. 60, 65. I don't know. It was somewhere around that, wasn't it?
Well, that's a big old number. I don't. If I'm honest, I don't think we're going to get there. But then the whole season's been a bit weird because if you have a look, City have only. It's going to sound really stupid. City have only got 70 points. Like, I'm looking at that. They've dropped maximum points.
65. Yeah.
They've dropped maximum points 7 times this season. I don't know how many they lost all last season, but I can't imagine that number was. I mean, did they not get close to 100 points last year or some stupid like that?
I know they got 100 odd points about 3-4 seasons ago.
Yeah, and when you look at that, and now they're sitting on so they got 8 games to go. 36 games, 37 games,
38 games in the Premier League.
So they've got 9 games left.
Yeah.
You know, what's that? Well, I suppose they could still get 90 plus points with that in mind if they win every game. So, yeah, I mean, we'd have to go some to get close to 65 again.
But let's be honest about it, Duke. And as I say, I know the people that would like to try and find negatives rather than positives would say, "Oh, but we should have got fourth. We should have done this. We should have done that." Listen, if we finish 7th, which, all right, is a place down from where we are, but just bear with me on this. If we finished 7th and also won the Europa League, thereby qualifying for the Champions League, that's not a bad season. That's 2 consecutive top 8 finishes, which we've only ever done once in our 126-year history. And into the bargain, we've got a European trophy in the cabinet and qualification for the very first time in our history for the top tournament in European football. I'd actually say, yeah, I think I'd take 7th, 5th
Mate,
in that.
I'd finish 10th. I'd accept 10th if we win the Europa League.
Yeah.
I would. I'd accept going down as far as 10th. I know the chances of that 13 points with 9 games to go is, that, especially for Southampton, obviously, do you see us losing all of our next 9 and Southampton winning all of the next 9 is, slightly different scenario. But I'd quite happily finish 10th and winning the Europa League. Right, what's this? Because this interests me. I've just seen something. I don't think it matters, Happy, to be honest. The only way that I think that would be accepted. Obviously, it needs to be ratified by not only by the FA, not the FA, the Premier League. PFA, yeah, that was it, and the Premier League. It also need to be ratified by the government now because of the sanctions that are in place. Now, don't get me wrong. I think did I read somewhere that their total, yeah, it's spot on.
Massively.
Am I right in thinking that their total wage bill for staff, for playing staff, for backroom staff, for the tea lady, for everything is something in the region of something like £28 million?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if that's correct or not. But
from what I heard, the first team playing squad, just the first team, their wages is something in around £5 million a week.
Nice work if you can get it.
Now, if they haven't got any income, and that's just the first team squad. Now, if they don't have any incomings, and by that I mean registered Premier League first team squad, so it's 22 players, if my memory serves. They've got a significant amount more than that. They can't afford to pay £5 million a week, £20 million a month, without there being some sort of tits up moment at that club, administration, anything else, because they can't afford it. With no money coming in, that's a significant chunk of change going out just on wages. That's not including, anything else. The travel expenses. Who they got? Who did they get? They got Atletico, didn't they? So they got lucky again.
I believe so, yeah.
They got lucky again with the
travel. Real Madrid. They got
Real. City got Atletico. So again, they got lucky with the travel because that's going to be within their 20 grand spending limit for
budget, isn't it?
travel that the government has given them.
So coaches, green line.
Listen, the question wasn't do I reckon the FA would ratify it. The question was, or the Premier League and PFA, would they ratify it? That wasn't the question. Question was, do I think that the players would be happy doing it? The answer is no. The answer is no, because I'm telling you now, it's going to get to a turn your microphone off, Happy, when you go to the loo, just so you know, babe. We don't need to be hearing that shit. Or that shit, take a pick. I don't think the players would be happy to, because they don't know from 1 week now to the next whether that wage is going to be coming. Not that they have to worry about it, because these players have got so many offshore tax accounts, record all the rest of that shit.
Allegedly.
No, fucking not allegedly. It's true. I'll take it. I don't care. They listen. It's not that they need it, but they don't know when that paycheck's going to stop. So they won't take half the wages. Why should they? Why should they? It ain't their fault.
I was going to say, it'd be a bit like
Money
your boss
laundering
turning
prick.
around to you and saying that the business is struggling. We're going to half your wages. You're probably going to go, I don't think so.
Well, this business doesn't kind of work that way.
No, I know.
This is a slightly different scenario for that shit, and it's amazing. It's an amazing way to be able to, for me to be able to earn some good cash, doing what I do and the way this business runs itself. But I have to say, no, I think I don't think the players would. I really don't think, and I don't think they gain anything out of it. Yeah, no, you're right. But the thing is, we knew this. We've known this from the start of the season, that there was no there was going to be no chance for rotation. We have one of the smallest first team squads out there.
But then you're comparing Manchester City. It's not really a fair comparison because you're comparing a club that's bankrolled by a country to a club that is bankrolled by a couple of, a septuagenarian and an octogenarian porn barons. It's not a fair
Yeah.
comparison.
Rob, do you remember the days when we were being linked with a new sponsorship that was Jiffy Condoms?
Jiffy Condoms, I
Do you
remember that
them
was around
days?
about 97, 98.
Do you remember them days? Do you remember the laughing
There was a
stock
season
that
we didn't
were
have a
saying?
sponsor. Do you remember that? I love that shirt.
There was a season that we had a white box with squad numbers in it. I remember.
Yeah, that was when. Well, it's happened twice because we had XL Airways go tits up mid-season.
What was the
And
first one?
then it was Alpari was the
Al
second one.
That was that. Oh no, XL was the year we
Betway
had.
then eventually replaced them.
Valon Barami was in one of them shirts. I think that was the XL
Yes.
shirt.
Yes.
Because I remember, that was the Parker. That was the Parker season as well. I hate international breaks. Hate them.
No, I think it's good for us, provided our players aren't utilised and come back in good condition, if you will. I mean, God forbid if Declan Rice came back with a bad injury, then it's a bad international break. If Declan Rice doesn't play that much, because these are basically friendlies, aren't they? Yeah. So if he's played to an extent that keeps the gears sort of like moving, but doesn't overly tax him, and Michail Antonio doesn't go to the Caribbean and yada yada yada, and everybody comes back fit and healthy and firing, then I think it's a good thing. If any of them come back with an injury, different scenario.
No. What I would do is you're right. We can't ask the impossible from players. No, what I was to say, Rob, is Declan Rice has a virus after being called up. Gets released from the squad. I can't play, boss. Sorry, I've got a virus. All that
Fergie
shit.
did it all the time.
Yeah,
with Ryan Giggs mainly.
And I'd do the same with with Antonio. So
he's got a cough.
He's got a cough. He's got a chest infection. I don't care what it is. Give him a couple of weeks off. Like seriously, these boys, as Sahil says, you can't ask the impossible with these players.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the squad depth is as shallow as a puddle, but David Moyes likes working with a small squad, doesn't he? It seems.
He always has done. He always has done. But there's a small squad of first team players, and then there's a small squad of first team players mixed with kids that you're not going to use. That's the problem we've got. If he decided to work with 22 players and they were all first team contenders, nothing out of the youth team unless there was a massive, injury worry or whatever. If he was just to go, right, okay, 22 players, here we go. That's 2 players for every position as such. Then you ain't got to worry. Then you could rotate. Then you could do what you have to do. But he hasn't got that. What he's got is he's got 1 player for every position, apart from goalkeeper, where he's got 3. And then he's got a bunch of kids that he doesn't want to use. So you're using the same players. Bless you. You got Alex Crow, who he doesn't trust. You got Mark Nobles, who, without being disrespectful, his legs have gone and he's not a 90-minute player anymore. No. You got Yarmolenko, who, when used out on the wing, no one wants to see him. But when he's deployed up front, we're all Yarmolenko fans. You've got Nikola Vlasic. I've said 4 players there. The rest of that bench, 9 times out of 10, is made up of 3 goalkeepers, or 2 goalkeepers, sorry, and then a bunch of kids that he's never going to use. So you're not going to use your 2 goalkeepers on the bench if need be. Okay. You're not going to use those. Noble's not going to be rotated. Crow, he doesn't seem to favour, and then Vlasic. So there's 5. That's 16 players. The other 6 in that squad, and in the first team squad, are now made up of kids. So the kids aren't going to play. Crow's not going to play. There's 7. Your 2 goalkeepers are not going to play. That's 8 and 9. All of a sudden, out your 22-man squad, I've just wiped out 9. What's left? You've got Yarmolenko and Vlasic. That's Noble can't. So yeah, you got 13 out of 22 are the only ones that are really going to be in with a look in because he doesn't want to play the kids, and you got your 2 goalkeepers.
Here's a question for you, and I thought about this in the wake of the Seville game. Should we be concerned that a player that has come through the door on an initial £17 million price tag, possibly going up to 27 million, wasn't involved in any capacity against Seville? Does that concern you?
No.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Once I've sent a text message asking Chloe to stay a little bit longer, because we're not going to be done in 10 minutes. No, we're not. We have a habit of this. Would you be able to give me 10 more minutes?
I'll make it worth your while. I'll give you an extra couple of quid.
30p. No, I don't. I don't think that it's a worry. Moyes had a game plan, and that game plan worked. That's it. There's no other. There's no point in looking into it anywhere else. He had the game plan. It worked. It's not that he's not been using Vlasic. It's not that he's not willing to. It's not that he's not willing to use him. It's not that he's not used him and he's just basically dumping him on the bench. Listen, he started a couple of games. He's been benched. He's come off the bench. He's been subbed out. He's been subbed in. So it's not that we're not using him. He just chose that this was the better option for the game against Seville. And that was it. That's the way I'm looking at it. I might be wrong. But for me, that's what he's done there.
You wouldn't have even sort of advocated bringing him on, I don't know, instead of Issa Diop or Mark Noble?
Nope.
No.
And the reason for that is Diop gave us a little bit of extra strength at the back. And Mark Noble gave us a little bit of extra security. And by that, I mean, and a little bit more composure in the middle of the park. Mark Noble isn't a rushed player. Mark Noble knows his limits. If he feels like he hasn't got control of a situation, the ball's going long or it's going out of play, he doesn't panic. He has that composure about it. A bit like Tom Brady in the NFL. If Tom Brady feels like he cannot make that pass or he's being put under pressure, it just goes. And throw it out of play or throw it into the ground, whatever. He will have that composure to be able to make that pass. Noble was the same. So by bringing Noble on, that composure was there in the middle of the park. Passes weren't being rushed and giving it straight back to them. He took his time, but he was confident with it. And so for me, as I say, Moyes had that plan. He stuck to the plan. He knew exactly what he wanted out of that plan, and he got exactly what he wanted out of that plan.
Fair. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, Duke, because obviously I know you're getting pressure from downstairs. I'll just finish off with pointing you guys that are there in the live chat. I'm just going to put this into the live chat just once more. Please do consider giving a few bob to Iron Supporting Food Bank. Russ Budden, our friend over there at West Ham Network, is doing a little stroll. I say a little stroll. He started morning at 10 o'clock at the statue at Wembley Stadium of Bobby Moore. And I'm just going to share this with you guys and just show you what we're talking about. So there it is, Iron Supporting Food Bank on a Just Giving page. And they've got a target there. They're trying to raise £10,000. They're 22% of the way there with 2,260 quid. Please feel free to make a donation via that Just Giving link that you can see on the screen there. No donation is too small, but give as generously as you can. There's a lot of families in the Newham Borough that are struggling at this time with fuel prices, gas, electric, all slamming through the ceiling, and wages don't quite keep up with it. They never usually do. But there's an awful lot of families out there that could do with a helping hand, and you know, maybe a few of you guys are a little bit luckier than them. So there, but for the grace of God, if you can put a few quid into the tin, as I say, help out Russ, help out John Ratomski, who are both undertaking this walk. A very, very worthwhile cause, guys. Please help out. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your attention in this matter. Duke, before we wrap it up, is there any final points you want to make about the game tomorrow?
Yeah, as I said, it's a big game, but it's also one of them games that like I said earlier, there's nothing that can be thrown at me regardless of the result. If we lose, I'd normally get a bit shitty with the comments that we get because you know, nine times out of 10 you're kind of going, yeah, all right, fair enough. Whereas this time round, there really is nothing that's going to be able to get under my skin. We're you know, Europa League quarter finalists. We got a relatively decent draw. I'm not saying that Leon are mugs, but they were one of my three that handpicked if I could pick three, including Braga and Frankfurt. And then Bose decided to remind me that, you know, Frankfurt decided they wanted to have a running battle with us through the streets of Seville. So it's probably best that we didn't draw Frankfurt. So we were in a good place. You know, chance of even Barcelona in the semi. And again, as was pointed out to me, Barcelona are third in their league. Guess who they're behind? Guess who's second? Oh, that'd be Seville. Behave yourself.
Not that sort of semi.
All right. You know, so for me, there's nothing to fear. We are 2 home games now, 2 victorious home games and 2 victorious away, or even draws on the away games. All right, I'll tell you what. We are 4 games to avoid defeat to play in a major European final. It's that simple, isn't it? It's not that simple, but it's that simple. It's just 4 games.
Win the home game, draw the away games, and you're in the final.
Avoid defeat. Avoid defeat. Even if it goes to extra time and penalties, you avoid defeat. Job done. And that, you know. So there's nothing tomorrow, even if the Spuds beat us, even if they spank us and we end up walking away from that ground 3 or 4-0 defeat. There's nothing that they're going to say that's really going to bug me. I'm not saying the game doesn't matter and I'd love to win it and I want to win it and all that passion is still there. And I probably feel a little bit different tomorrow morning when I wake up. But I'm not going to let the comments affect me if we do not win. You know, oh, your cup final, how do you feel? I feel like a quarter finalist in the Europa League, mate. Shut up and go away. You know?
That'll do. Okay, so please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Duke, what are they doing with the bell?
Poking it.
Give it a poke. And as always, guys, if you poke that bell, you'll be getting alerts on new content uploaded to the channel. And we always thank you very much indeed for your support. Duke, what are we?
Europa League quarter-finalists, Robert. Fucking massive ones at that.
Happy days, mate. Come on, you Irons.